Good, happy Wednesday morning, and happy hump day, everyone. I'm Riley King, and welcome to this Wednesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. It's time to rise and shine and get this Wednesday off to a good start. So sit back, relax, grab a good cup of coffee, and enjoy this Wednesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King, where we have a little bit of everything for you in this program. So, let's begin this Wednesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King, Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. First up, newly released video shows chaotic moments after Surfside condo collapse. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Listen. That's the sound of organic beer being...
Newly released body camera videos giving us a harrowing look at that condo collapse in Surfside, Florida, and what first responders witnessed as they arrived on the scene, what they saw, what they heard, and the frantic efforts to save lives. ABC's Victor Oquendo back in Surfside tonight.
Is anybody there? This is what three of the first Surfside police officers racing to the scene found the night of the deadly condo collapse.
Oh, I can't see anything, man.
Painful screams heard in the background. This officer desperate to get closer.
Can we jump over this wall here? I can't see over.
The chaotic moments from June 24th captured on newly released body camera video.
You okay? Is anybody down there injured?
This officer apparently walking underneath the remaining part of the Champlain Tower South, cars falling into the now cratered garage.
Go this way, go this way. The garage floor fell.
This woman barely making it out, telling officers she worked overnight security at the building.
I don't even know how I made it out of there. It's in the grace of God.
As more first responders arrived, the disbelief setting in.
The whole back of the building's gone. I've never seen anything like this, bro.
The official death toll, a staggering 98 people. With millions of pounds of concrete removed, the site is now clear. The federal investigation into how the building collapsed is well underway.
Victor Oquendo with that incredible video. Thanks.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. New York City to require proof of vaccinations for many indoor activities. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
The new COVID summer surge racing across the country. New York City, now the first American city to require proof of vaccination at restaurants, gyms, performances, and other indoor activities. And the growing concern for children, too young to be vaccinated. Pediatric COVID cases nearly doubling, 72,000 last week. But one positive note, vaccinations are up, especially in high infection states. 191 million people with at least one dose, 67% of those 12 years and older. ABC's Eva Pilgrim in Brooklyn tonight.
Tonight, New York City, the original epicenter of the coronavirus, announcing it will become the first city in the country to require proof of vaccination for a range of indoor activities.
If you're unvaccinated, unfortunately, you will not be able to participate in many things. That's the point we're trying to get across.
Starting September 13th, at restaurants, gyms, and entertainment venues, customers and workers will need to show vaccination proof on a city or state app or a physical card.
On the one hand, I don't like it, but I do think that the public health is more important than anything else.
But with COVID cases surging nearly 600% in New York City in the last month, the mayor calling the new mandate the key to the city's recovery. Late today, President Biden urging the private sector to require vaccinations.
This isn't easy, but I will have their backs and the backs of other private public sector leaders if they take such steps.
The president also calling out states who have banned mask mandates, including in schools, where young children are still not eligible to get a vaccine.
If you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way of the people who are trying to do the right thing. Use your power to save lives.
Vaccinations are ticking up, the biggest jumps in states with some of the highest infection rates. But every day, the number of Americans in hospitals is climbing. Today, 56,000, the most since February. From Florida to Louisiana, a record number of COVID patients.
I've never seen a disease do what the Delta variant is doing right now to our patient population.
Nearly all are unvaccinated, and many are filled with regret.
They are so sick, and they are so scared, and for the most part, they are so remorseful that they did not get this vaccination, that all I can feel for them is such extreme sympathy.
And there is mounting concern for children. Pediatric COVID cases nearly doubling in the last week. At Texas Children's Hospital, a steady climb in new COVID patients.
So you don't think that you've actually hit the peak yet?
I don't think we've hit that peak yet. And the troubling part of this is that we're in early August. And with fall sports and school around the corner, that could be obviously a very potent combination.
Something else for parents to think about in all of this. Eva Pilgrim is back with us now. And Eva, health officials are not yet recommending booster shots, but San Francisco General Hospital says it will be offering an extra vaccine dose to people who got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And the FDA is now weighing in.
That's right, Whit. The hospital says they'll be giving a Pfizer or Moderna vaccine to those who've requested it, calling it a supplemental dose. But the FDA's vaccine chief, Peter Marks, says they don't recommend taking things into your own hands, and it's not what you're supposed to do under the emergency use authorization. Whit?
We'll stand by for more news on that. Eva, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Possibility of criminal charges for Governor Cuomo. Legal experts. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Joining us now for more on this is Shauna Lloyd, a civil rights attorney with the Cochran firm and an ABC News contributor. Thanks so much for joining us, Shauna. Governor Cuomo is accused in an investigation conducted by the New York Attorney General of sexually harassing nearly a dozen women in and out of state government, and he allegedly worked to retaliate against one of his accusers. The New York Lieutenant Governor called the behavior, quote, repulsive, and said no one is above the law, but no criminal charges have been filed. Can you explain why?
Absolutely, Lindsay. There's a little bit of a difference here. The federal violation is creating an environment where the sexual harassment is so pervasive that it creates a hostile work environment, or there's some sort of adverse action towards your employment. That is a civil violation, and that's what they're alleging here. There's a very different standard for a criminal violation. A criminal violation has a different measure by which it's going to be sought to see if he measured up. Here they're saying there was absolutely a civil possible violation that they are witnessing and that they're seeing with this pattern in practice, but it doesn't rise to the level of criminal charges.
So could he face any potential charges down the line? We know that the Albany District Attorney has asked for supporting documentation.
Absolutely, there is a possibility of that. Typically, when we see those type of criminal charges coming down, it's typically because an accuser has gone and accused someone of this crime. Then you're going to see them look at the case and make a determination as to whether or not criminal charges should be brought.
And what option do the accusers here have?
The accusers have two options. There's always the criminal route, which is something people are pretty familiar with. You lodge a complaint, the police take a report, and they investigate. You can also lodge a civil lawsuit, which is what would be under this particular instance. The civil lawsuit is alleging that the sexual harassment was so pervasive it created a hostile work environment, and there are different remedies. And also, the accuser has a lot more ability to control the case when it's brought in the civil arena as opposed to the criminal arena.
Shauna Lloyd, our thanks to you. Appreciate your insight as always.
Thanks, Lindsay.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the...
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And we are going to switch gears now, and let's go into weather. And here is a look at your weather across the United States for this Wednesday. Happy Wednesday and happy hump day. As you can see in the green, you're seeing some rain/thunderstorms in the green section, as you can see. And then in the red sections, the little red sections here, it is heavy rain/flash flooding possible. And then over here with no color code, that means it is just dry with no precipitation in sight. And that is a look at your weather across the United States for this Wednesday. And let's switch gears now. And let's take a look at this. Kathy Griffin reveals lung cancer diagnosis. Let's take a look at that video from ABC News. Good morning, America.
Cue Rachel Ray.
Hey friends, today we're whipping up some delicious recipes. So, who's hungry?
Pets love Rachel Ray Nutrish and its kitchen-inspired recipes with real meat, poultry, or fish. Rachel Ray Nutrish. Real recipes, real ingredients, real good.
Kathy Griffin. She revealed her battle with lung cancer, warning that even non-smokers can be at risk. She is recovering this morning from surgery. The doctors say it went well. Dr. Jen Ashton standing by to discuss all this. First, here's Judy Chang's exclusive interview with Griffin.
Here's the incomparable Kathy Griffin!
Controversial comedian Kathy Griffin.
Lindsay Lohan, Mel Gibson, Jersey Shore, Real Housewives, everybody's going down tonight!
Known for her in-your-face comedy, revealing a frightening diagnosis on Instagram Monday, writing, "I've got to tell you guys something. I have cancer. I'm about to go into surgery to have half my left lung removed. Yes, I have lung cancer, even though I've never smoked."
I was definitely in shock. I'm still a little bit in shock.
Speaking exclusively to ABC News, this 60-year-old former fashion police star, who recently opened up about her struggle with addiction, says sobriety may have saved her life in more ways than one.
There's no more Oxy, there's no more Vicodin, and so I was like, do I have arthritis? My joints are hurting. And so I went and I had a bunch of tests. Yeah, I just found out that it's cancer, lung cancer, though I've never smoked. I like to be the exception to the rule. Exactly.
Griffin says the cancer is stage 1. Doctors are optimistic it has not spread. Lung cancer in non-smokers is not uncommon. In the U.S., about 10 to 20% of lung cancers occur in people who have never smoked or smoked fewer than 100 cigarettes in their lifetime. Other famous non-smokers who developed lung cancer: Donna Summer, Andy Kaufman, and Dustin Diamond. Comedian Joy Behar pointing out Monday on The View that doing stand-up in smoky bars early in her career could have contributed.
she was subjected to a lot of secondhand smoke, as were all of us comedians. I mean, we used to be on stage and there was always a joke, what are we, electing a pope? Because there was so much smoke in the room, or it felt like downtown Beijing,
For Griffin, early detection hopefully means a quick surgery without chemo or radiation, and she's optimistic that she'll survive this setback.
So what does the next chapter look like post-surgery? The beauty is I don't worry about that as much anymore, which is, by the way, an exercise. It's work. You don't plan a tour a week in advance. You plan it months or years in advance. So what I'm learning is, not to sound cocky, but I think at this stage of the game, I think people know who I am. And I think it's okay for me to go, you know what, I'm going to see what comes in. I think I'm a survivor is what I think, whether I like it or not, I think I'm a resilient survivor.
That is for sure. Let's talk about this now with Dr. Jen Ashton. So, not a smoker.
Yeah.
What are the other risk factors?
George, if people remember one set of things from Kathy Griffin's announcement, this is the #1 cancer killer of men and women in this country. 15 to 20% of lung cancers occur in people who never smoked. And there is a screening test. It's a low-dose CAT scan if you have a history of smoking or if you're a current heavy smoker. I think the important thing for risk factors, secondhand smoke is a major risk factor. So is radon gas.
But now, she said she was feeling some joint pain. You normally wouldn't associate that with lung cancer. So what are the warning signs?
So true and unrelated. I'm sure she was feeling joint pain. That's not one of the classic warning signs or symptoms. If you take a look at this list, they run through the gamut. Fatigue, coughing, particularly coughing up blood, chest pain that doesn't go away after 1 to 2 weeks, wheezing, shortness of breath. Any of these warning signs or symptoms, whether you're a smoker or not, you want to see a medical provider and trust your body, George. That's the bottom line here. But hopefully good news for her, stage 1.
Jen Ashton, thanks very much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.
Okay, there you go on that video and that report. And hopefully she'll get well soon. And let's switch gears now and let's go into some entertainment news. In entertainment news, inside Ben Affleck's luxury birthday gift to Jennifer Lopez. Let's take a look at that right now.
With no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, banking with Capital One is like the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Kind of like...
I think I'll go with cardigan.
That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
You're gonna go on Raya?
Here's the thing. These so-called anonymous places where so-called well-known people can go.
Yes.
We have our own little island called the Celebrity Island.
It's great there. How great is that?
Honestly, that's the best version of The Bachelor, is the island. Bachelor in Paradise.
Jen joked, dodging the dating app question, and shut down this idea for a Bachelor spinoff.
Imagine if all celebrities just lived on one island and you couldn't get off.
Well, no. I mean, that would be not great for anybody.
As for rumors Jen's hanging out with ex John Mayer again, well, she avoided that as well. John got fans buzzing when he posted this TikTok video, and some pointed out how much the dog in the video looks just like Jen's, even the same collar. But when Jen was asked about the collars, she said, "My trainer's friend makes them. I've received a lot of questions about the dog collars." The actress goes full glam for the September issue of InStyle and also weighs in on Britney Spears. Jen says the media took advantage of Brit and other 90s pop stars. Quote, "Half of these kids started on the Mickey Mouse Club." Britney! Aniston adds, "I was lucky enough to be raised by a very strict mother. The priorities were not about becoming a famous person. It was study your craft, learn what you're doing, don't just go out there and get lucky." And Jen's got nothing but respect for J-Lo, who she says has Hollywood's best red carpet pose. Quote, "She fell out of bed that way. She's a performer." And we're learning more about the jewelry Ben apparently gave J-Lo for her birthday. The pieces are reportedly by the jeweler Foundry and include this 18-karat gold golden key symbolizing true love, plus this resilience medallion, which includes blossoms which are fed with passion and continue to bloom even against adversity. But now to J-Lo's ex, Diddy. He says no, he was not taking a shot at Bennifer when he posted this throwback with J-Lo back in May. Yes, it was right around the time the couple started making headlines. Sean says, quote, "It wasn't no trolling involved. That's just my friend." Adding, "I don't have nothing to say about her relationship or her life." The 51-year-old who changed his middle name from John to Love is on the cover of Vanity Fair's September issue on August 10th.
Oh my God! Did you see this?
Diddy posed with his 3 daughters and had tips to style their hair.
I said, if Beyonce ain't gonna wear it, I don't want it on them.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this Wednesday morning edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday and a great rest of your day. And I'll see you back here next time for another edition of The Morning Show with Riley King. Bye now.